A cold, foggy winter's morning. Perfect day for a walk round the glass park. St Oswald's Church has stood in the village of Sandall Parva for many years and watched the village disappear around it. But now the village has returned. There's still some remnants of the old farm buildings, but also the new housing estate, which has brought life back to this area. In the 1990s, the Kirk Sandall Community Wildlife Group worked with the Countryside Commission to develop plans for the creation of a Millennium Green by restoring the Pilkington's glass waste tip into a country park. The Glass Park Trust was set up in 1998 to oversee the management of this new area of open space. The plans included the creation of new wildflower meadows, wetlands, fields of cornfield annuals, new hedges and young trees. This is the entrance from Moor Lane, and it's the route used by wagons taking material to the waste tip from the Pilkington's factory. On the right hand side, the area it was used to grow trees. Here you can see the raised beds. This one's one of the aspens. You can tell it's an aspen by the bark. Lovely diamond shapes. By the shape of the leaf, round in profile, and the very flattened and flexible stalk. I've just walked off the main path, and here we are in the end of the area that used to be ploughed up and sown with wildflower seed. There are now many plants of dog rose growing. Out in the open they have lots of flower in the summer, and this means that they also have lots of berries or hips in the winter, and these can be a vital food source for birds that are looking for food at a time of year when there's very little available. As you walk through the park, take a look at the trees around you. You can often tell which species they are from the shape and the colour of the branches and the twigs. This bush here that's been cut back at some point so that it has a bushy growth pattern is a willow. Beside the path here is a young plant of hawthorn. You can see that it's got very short, stubby thorns. The dead heads of some of the summer flowers can be seen poking through the snow. Here we have wild carrot. Here we have some bushes of hazel. And you can tell it's hazel because already it's got catkins dangling off the stems. These are the male catkins that open and shed the pollen very early in the year. At this stage we haven't got the female flowers visible, but they will form at the tips of the buds. If I just point to where they'll be, you can look out for them. This is the field maple, and it's still got the seeds dangling from the tips of the branches. Growing amongst the hawthorn, you've got this young oak tree, still with some of the leaves of summer caught on the branches. They've got the familiar lobed leaf shape, and they've even got what are called galls on the lower surface, and these are formed by insects, these little dark discs, spangle galls, created by parasitic wasps, which lay an egg in the leaf, and then the leaf builds this structure around the insect, creating a home for it, and then the gall falls to the ground, complete with the insect inside, which then emerges in spring. Not many acorns on the floor anymore. They've probably been taken by all the squirrels and perhaps the jays, which go and cache the acorns for the harsh winter. Following the path out of the hawthorn, there's a gorse bush which is struggling to cope with the weight of the snow. Gorse is an unusual plant in that it flowers at any time of the year, producing a nectar source for any late winter insects. It's a member of the pea family, related to the beans and peas that we eat. Emerging back onto the main path, in front of us we've got some silver birch, Betula pendula, very accurately named due to the pendulous branches. The silver part of the name comes from the white bark on the lower trunk. Birch is one of the first trees to colonise areas after they'd been disturbed and left abandoned, and these trees possibly date from the time when the glass park was an active glass waste tip. On the left here we have broom, which, like the gorse, is struggling to cope with the frost and snow, which is breaking down the branches. Coming out onto the top of the old glass waste tip, we have mother's wood, and then down in the dip is the old drain, which survives from the time before the area was tipped, and has in the past supported animals like watervole. Beside the path and the drain, there are a lot of ash saplings which are growing up, probably from the seeds of this tree, which is a semi-mature ash tree growing by the drain edge. It has still got the ash keys or seeds that are dangling from the branches. This time of year it's very easy to study the outline of trees, and this helps you identify an ash at quite a distance, because the branches dip down before continuing upwards at the tips. The wildflower meadow is hidden under a blanket of snow, but you can see here that mother's wood is developing very nicely into a proper woodland with lots of young trees and shrubs, providing a really good wildlife habitat. A wide variety of trees and shrubs were planted in mother's wood, including this one with bright red berries, which is called Guelder Rose. At the bottom of the meadow is Moor Lane, part of the old road network that used to lead down to Sandalparva village. And here on the right is the pond, with a bench in front of it, which was chosen by Liz Jeffries, a great supporter of the park, who was closely involved with all the stages of its creation. The pond is quiet and frozen now, but in a few months' time it'll be alive with the sounds of croaking toads and frogs laying their spawn. A tree that likes to grow by water is the alder, which can be seen in the distance on the far side. The alder bears cones, and the seeds are the favourite food of birds like siskin, which gather in large flocks, especially in the winter. Behind the pond are some of the older trees of the site that grow alongside Moor Lane, and also the Grove Wood on the far side. Here the trees are covered in ivy, which provides nesting sites for birds, and possibly even roost sites for bats. Ivy is an important plant to wildlife because it has both nectar and berries, and the flowers come out very late in the winter. A couple of blackbirds having an argument. Perhaps there's a predator in the area. In the tall trees alongside Moor Lane you can hear flocks of starlings sitting on the treetops.